In this devotional, I'm going to share with you 3 thoughts from Proverbs 26, verses 13 through 16, where I'll ask the question, why does Solomon condemn sluggards? Proverbs 26, verses 13 through 16 says, the sluggard says, there's a lion in the road, there's a lion in the streets. As the door turns on its hinges, so does a sluggard on his bed. The sluggard buries his hand in the dish, it wears him out to bring it back to his mouth. The sluggard is wiser in his own eyes than 7 men who can answer sensibly. Solomon doesn't seem to have a whole lot of love for people he would call a sluggard. In fact, he condemns them soundly. He lets everybody know that you should not be a sluggard. You definitely need to be actively working towards something that's good. And Solomon even displays this in his own life, where he is continually doing projects, continually developing the nation, and in this regard is an excellent king and example for the people of Israel. A lot of people don't follow that ideal, though. A lot of people, they want to sit and rest and wait, not realizing that by failing to work hard and to be diligent in the things assigned to them are a means of accessing the great blessing of God. So here are 3 thoughts from Proverbs chapter 26, verses 13 through 16, answering the question, why does Solomon condemn sluggards? Thought number 1, excuses. Solomon recognizes that the sluggard always has an excuse. And there in verse 13, what does the sluggard say? He says, there's a lion in the road. There's a lion out there. Essentially, there's too great a threat. I can't leave my house. I can't go out and do anything. I have to stay put because there's too much danger, too much terror out there that might befall me. He's pointing out that the sluggard makes excuses. They make excuses for failing to do the things that they know they ought to do. And whenever you start to hear excuses from somebody, you know that they recognize that there was an obligation for them to have done something, but they give you the excuse to sort of let you know why they didn't do it, so you might be a little bit more sympathetic towards them. But it's important for us to make sure that we're diligent in our work and that we don't produce a whole bunch of excuses, because ultimately the sluggard is not the one you want to be. Thought number 2, laziness. Solomon describes the sluggard as lazy. They're lazy. They creak on their bed like the door on its hinges. They just roll over from one side of the bed to the other, and they don't want to get up. They don't want to get out of bed. They don't want to get to the work of the day. They just want to lay in there and sleep and do nothing. They just turn over on their bed like the door swings on its hinges. And he also says that the sluggard is so lazy that they put their hand in the dish and they're too lazy to pick it up out of the dish to eat the food that they wanted to eat. Some people have a temptation towards laziness. And if you are tempted towards laziness, that's something that you need to overcome. You need to recognize that being lazy or being slothful is a denial of the blessing of work that the Lord has provided for us as a part of his creation. Even before the fall, there was work for Adam and Eve to do in the garden. They had dominion over the earth, and they had tasks that they were supposed to do. They were supposed to care for and tend the garden. They had to collect up the food that they were going to eat. They had to name and understand all of the different creatures that were there. Laziness is a rejection of the God-given gift of work, and as such is sinful. Thought number 3, self-delusion. The sluggard is self-deluded. They think that they're ever so wise. They think they're ever so intelligent. They think that they're making a good decision by preserving their energy for future work. But that just isn't the case at all. They think that they're smart. They think that they're more intelligent than anybody else, but they're not. Ultimately, they're just allowing their desire to be lazy to overcome that. So the sluggard deludes themselves in making arguments, believing that the things they're telling themselves, I need to rest for my own good health. I need to rest in order to maintain good mental awareness. I need to make sure that I'm not too busy so that I'm prepared for when the next action comes. Oftentimes, this is a self-delusion. These are excuses that a person makes to justify their own laziness. And if you are deluding yourself by saying, I don't need to get up and get about the business of the day. I don't need to put my hand to the task set before me. I don't need to work 6 days and rest one, as is demonstrated for us in the created order. Well, you're simply deluding yourself. You're rejecting that which has been revealed to us in the scriptures. That work is inherently good, that it's beneficial for us as people, and that it helps us and our neighbor and those around us to better appreciate God when we engage in that great and wonderful thing that is provided for us to do, work. These three thoughts come from the assigned reading of Proverbs chapters 26 through 27. If you'd like to read through the Bible with me, you can do so by subscribing to this channel, by clicking on the link in the description, or by joining the Facebook group Through the Bible, where we are reading the text of Scripture together.